4,096 kilometers. This is not just a border line, it is the absolute current hotbed front line of India's eastern security architecture. For decades, New Delhi viewed Bangladesh as the cornerstone of its neighborhood first policy, a relationship anchored in the shared blood of 1971 Liberation War. But that era is over and the golden chapter has violently ruptured. With the dramatic fall of Sheikh Hasina during the August 2024 monsoon revolution and the 2026 electoral rise of Tariq Rahman's Bangladesh Nationalist Party, Dhaka has radically rewritten its foreign policy. We are moving away from what John Mearsheimer would call offensive realism and entering a fierce era of what Muhammad Ayub calls subaltern realism. Dhaka is now aggressively executing Stephen David's omni-balancing, which means Dhaka is deliberately courting China and Pakistan to dismantle New Delhi's dominance in the region. First, let us ask, how does India navigate a neighbor that is actively weaponizing its geography against us? For years, the Teesta water sharing agreement remained stalled due to what Rob Jenkins would call federalized foreign policy, with domestic opposition from the then West Bengal Chief Minister constraining India's neighborhood diplomacy. Frustrated by the delay, Bangladesh awarded $1 billion Teesta River Management Project to China. This reflects Stephen Wald's balance of threat in action as Dhaka leverages external partnerships to offset the strategic uncertainty. The growing Chinese presence near the Teesta also brings Beijing's strategic footprints closer to India's vulnerable Siliguri corridor, that is Chicken Neck, raising significant security concerns. This brings us to a terrifying new military reality. In 2025, Bangladesh conducted the Akash Bijoy military exercises, prompting India to respond with Teesta Prahar maneuvers near the Siliguri corridor. The message was clear that India's core security interests will take precedence over diplomatic sensitivities. With reports of renewed Pakistan-backed security engagement in Bangladesh alongside a growing Chinese footprint, New Delhi increasingly faces the prospect of a volatile third front along its eastern border. But the friction is not just military. It is deeply societal also. Robert Putnam's two-level game explained the Sheikh Hasina extradition dilemma well. Bangladesh's interim government faces domestic pressure to secure her extradition following her conviction in absentia. India refuses, fearing that surrendering a long-standing partner would undermine its credibility as a trusted regional ally. Furthermore, the physical border has become highly militarized. India's push to expel undocumented migrants has led Dhaka to heavily militarize the zero line with drone surveillance, framing human migration as an existential threat. The revival of Jamaat-e-Islami marks one of the most significant political shifts in post-revolution Bangladesh. The larger concern here is not an immediate Islamist takeover, but the gradual normalization of religious politics. This could reshape Bangladesh's secular identity and have important implications for regional stability and India's security. Simultaneously, rising identity politics has intensified tensions. Paul Brass' theories on institutionalized religious friction were on full display when the arrest of Hindu monk Chinmoy Krishnadas in Bangladesh triggered mass communal outrage in Agartala. At the same time, India's suspension of the fast track medical visa scheme in retaliation illustrated how soft power can quickly evolve into coercive statecraft during diplomatic crisis. Despite this chaos, absolute divorce is a structural impossibility. Why? This is what Robert Cahoon and Joseph Nye define as complex interdependence and asymmetric vulnerability. Bangladesh's massive $47 billion ready-made garment sector is deeply enchained to Indian raw cotton and machinery. Not only this, adding fuel to the fire is the impending December 2026 expiration of Ganga Water Treaty. The renewal of this treaty, as per Mark Jitoun's hydro hegemony framework, is destined to be a zero-sum battle for survival, threatening the Sundarbans. What then is the most critical challenge India faces in the Sheikh Hasina extradition dilemma? The Sheikh Hasina extradition dilemma goes far beyond one individual. It is a test of India's regional strategy. India must balance Dhaka's demands with its credibility as a trusted strategic partner. At the same time, domestic constraints over the Tista Agreement, the use of sharp power against Bangladesh, and a growing Sino-Pak presence raise a larger question. Can India protect its influence in Bangladesh while securing the vulnerable Siliguri corridor in an increasingly competitive neighborhood? To conclude, how should New Delhi move forward? Harsh B. Pant argues India must embrace mini-lateral complementarity by integrating Bangladesh into regional platforms like BIMSTEC and working with like-minded partners to strengthen Dhaka's economic resilience. Simultaneously, track to diplomacy and deeper people-to-people engagement, as envisioned by Bashir Ali Abbas and Muhammad Riaz Hamidullah, civilizational weaver paradigm can rebuild the trust beyond political turbulence. Former Foreign Secretary Harsh Shringla emphasizes we are in an era of systemic institutionalization. India's response must not be impulsive retaliation, but a disciplined doctrine of strategic patience. Geography dictates that we share a border, but strategy will dictate whether we share a peaceful future.